Over 20,000 accounting and finance experts around the globe have used MindBridge to discover unknown risk. MindBridge discovers this by unlocking what's in your financial data, bringing your attention to what matters most with a unique advantage. Its award-winning AI platform is over 10 times more likely to identify errors and fraud than with rules-only data analytics methods, let alone traditional sampling methods. It does this by combining the power of business rules, statistical methods, and machine learning algorithms. Ensemble AI unlocks your data and discovers what's in every transaction and even what's in between. It then pinpoints areas of risk for you, scores the risk level, and shares these scores in an accurate and explainable way. While protecting your data with enterprise-class security features and SOC 2 Type 2 certification. By risk scoring your financial data, your team can unlock better ways of working and be freed from repetitive, time-consuming tasks. No coding required. Let's take a look at an actual workflow and drill down into one of the highest risk transactions in this client. The transaction is a $128,000 debt to returns, $16,000 to tax liability, and $145,000 credit to cash. MindBridge's score shows you the level and types of risk indicators it discovered. These indicators are called control points. If you click on Cash Expenditures, you can see the relevant line item of the transaction highlights, and it directs you where to look. For the statistical or machine learning control points, MindBridge leverages unsupervised machine learning, which finds risks in several ways. One control point is unusual amounts, which looks for unusual dollar values given the nominal account a transaction sits within. When you click on this control point, MindBridge tells you which line items are unusual and which are not. A more complex control point is rare flows, which builds an expectation for how money normally flows within a business. Rare flows learns the flows of transactions, which are crediting income and debiting accounts receivable. It triggers a risk alert when a transaction flows in the other direction in an unusual way, or where a transaction touches an unusual combination of accounts, such as fixed assets and income. By combining all of these control points into a single score, you can start to look holistically at transactions and risk within a business. It lets you ask questions directly about the assertion-level risks that exist within particular account balances or business segments which are interesting for you. Combining the risk scoring with the traditional view of year-on-year variances at the account balance level gives you a strong overview of the performance of the business. MindBridge automates the work that you're used to doing, and when you spot something that's interesting, you can drill down in order to understand what's happening at a more granular level. Here is an interesting movement in cash, and using MindBridge, you can take a look at the monthly performance on the trending dashboard. The trending dashboard highlights that there are some interesting movements in cash in the period, which you can compare to the last 4 years of history. Perhaps this represents a year-end transaction that hasn't been posted correctly and should be investigated. Once you've found something, you can leave an annotation, which all goes to a single place for somebody to review, export, or from which to drive another action. Perhaps you're interested in the relationship between that cash balance and other key areas of activity. For instance, do you want to know how the cash balance is moving in relation to the sales receipt? Leveraging the ratio analytics gives you these views out of the box. MindBridge's AI also highlights periods of unusual activity where the performance of this account balance is not in line with where it has been historically. This combination of performance and risk analytics means MindBridge acts as the best early warning system you can have. By leveraging the risk overview, you can understand where the risk lies and within which account balances and significant classes of transaction. Filtering the risk overview by cash account gives you a view into how the transactions are distributed across high, medium, and low risk, as well as which users and transaction types are impacting the cash transactions. MindBridge's risk scatter plot tells you that there are some high-risk manual journal transactions which are impacting cash and probably warrant a closer look. Clicking on any of the visualizations takes you to a filtered data table with the transactions in question, from where you can easily drive a review or testing. This leads to another question. Where are those manual journal entries being posted to? Returning to the risk overview and filtering by manual journals allows you to easily answer that question. This view tells you that most of the manual journals are touching cash in an interesting find. Because MindBridge handles any column or data field that has been recorded, the risk overview lets you easily explore who is posting these unusual cash transactions and what region they are being posted in. Access to this information means that MindBridge can spot serious issues before they become problems and gives you time to adapt and react. It's an example of how access to the enriched information in MindBridge makes your work faster, better quality, and more effective. By providing these other data fields, which could be user, region, fund, or another column that's interesting, MindBridge is a true multidimensional data exploration tool. Noticing that one region is posting more of these transactions, you might be interested to understand the performance of the business's regions relative to each other, a question that the trending dashboard easily lets you answer. In this example, you can see the performance of New York and California next to each other in an easy-to-understand format. This, of course, isn't just about identifying risks, but also using the data to provide evidence when an area is low risk. Looking at the cost of goods sold, you can tell that all the transactions are low risk. A limited number of control points has been triggered, and that when they are being posted broadly, matches the profile that I expect. And they're only touching the nominal accounts that would be expected. In this instance, cost of sale and inventory. In this way, MindBridge creates data-driven evidence of low risk, which ensures controllers and auditors aren't doing more work than they need. To learn more about MindBridge, hear specific use cases relevant to your firm or business, and explore packages, talk to one of our experts today.